All right, welcome to another episode of the MMA Fight Game Podcast. We have Bubba from Full Contact Promotions, the owner, the matchmaker extraordinaire. We are on the verge the weekend or the week before Rage in the Cage 24 on April 6th at the Tim Hortons IcePlex, the legendary IcePlex behind MCC. This card is probably the biggest amateur MMA card in the country for the year. You have two rising prospects in both Tim Fargo, who is number one in New York, who is number one in the U.S. Northeast, according to Tapology, as an amateur bantamweight at 135 pounds. And then you got uber prospect, who I'm really high on, Mason Lewis. Bubba, we got a hell of a card next weekend. And then after next weekend, we turn around in about 30 days. We do it all again. What's going on, bud?
What's going on, Dan? Yeah, I'm pretty excited for this card. We took a little time off after that Attica show. Sometimes you got to kind of just reset after you've been doing this for so long, and you come back with a bigger card than ever, you know?
Yeah, this card is completely massive. I mean, obviously headlined by, as I mentioned, Tim Fargo, Mason Lewis. You got Mende versus Tristan Carr. You got Kevin Hickson back in the MMA cage, looking to right some wrongs there. You got Caden Ellis, who made a huge noise in the sectional wrestling tournament around here. He just announced that he's going to a college, just announced where he's going. You got Shannon Rowe and Amanda, who are looking to get in the cage, finally getting Amanda in the full contact cage as well. So obviously we got some big K1 bouts as well. Tyler Rodriguez, he was back in May, I think. He brought out a huge crowd. He had a stoppage victory. He's taking on an 0-0 Derek Benningfield. Talk to me about that matchup.
Like you said, Tyler, he debuted back in May. He was gonna fight on the August card in Attica, but unfortunately, I believe he got hurt. So he's back in training. He's fighting Derek Benningfield from Schaefer MMA, and as we know, that team is no slouch.
Yeah,
so
Schaefer.
I think that.
Go ahead.
That's going to be a great fight. I think it's going to be two bangers. They're going to go at it. They're going to just keep swinging. There will be no breaks in that fight.
The Schaefer MMA boys, I watch them. They tag me in a lot of their stuff on social media. Those boys just came back from over in Munich, Germany at the ISKA Amateur World Championships. And I definitely know that these guys strike, they can bang, they're not afraid to get in the pocket. And Tyler is just another one who is not afraid to bang as well. So I'm definitely
he's working with some good coaches. He's working with some sparring with some other, really good fighters. So neither one are slouches when it comes to this K1 bout.
Yeah, so Tyler is working with some new guys as well.
Yep.
Yeah, where's he at now?
I believe he's at Synthesis, and then there's another gym that he's been working with on and off. Wow. So
yeah, that's great. And then we move on to Nate Smith, who is I don't know if there's enough adjectives.
Yeah. This is going to be a good fight because this is going to be the first fight for Nate without shin pads or headgear. Obviously he's fought quite a bit as a junior, and he had his first adult fight probably about a month ago, and walked out with a great win that night. But also his opponent, Sammy Makaba, he's been around for a while. He's a very high-paced fighter. He pushes the pace on you. So I think this is going to be a really, really good fight for Nate.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Nate. Now, when Nate competed over in Munich, did he have shin pads on for that as well. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, they use shin pads and headgear.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean the crowd that's going to cap off the K1 for the night, and it's just amazing. And I don't think people understand the level of mixed martial arts that's coming out of this area with all the talent, and the K1 going to the MMA.
Absolutely.
This is a big this is a
There's a
big
lot of
part.
talent here, and especially in upstate New York.
I agree. You know, starting on the pro level, you got John Piersma. He's fighting for the 170-pound title. You got Vinny Iannuzzo, who had a walk-off kill shot over at Combat Zone. You know, the area is growing. The Northeast is growing as well. You got Jake Hicksenbach. You got Liam Anderson. You have Jacob Bone, the GOAT. You got a lot of guys, and then you got
We've got quite a bit of fighters from our area that are definitely making some noise out there.
yeah, and it just goes to show, and they're all full contact alumni.
Oh, for sure.
So, but let's get into the MMA bouts of the night. We got Dom.
Well, let's talk about the wrestling in the cage.
Oh, I am totally sorry to all the
We
wrestling
can't forget
families.
about that.
You know what? I was totally going to intro into that, and I dropped the ball.
That's okay. We can get it in right here before we talk about the killer MMA fights. But yeah,
wrestling families are going to kill me, man. What? Oh no.
No, this wrestling in the cage is gonna be great. It's gonna be a great start for the wrestlers to get in there and get a feel for the cage. Obviously, we know, the background of mixed martial arts is wrestling.
That's basic.
We were gonna do a full-blown wrestling tournament the following day on Sunday, but we had an issue with getting mats. And so we said, you know what? Let's get 40 top wrestling matches, have them earlier today. So we're going to open the doors at noon that day. We're going to start the wrestling at 1:00. And we got, as of now, probably a good 30 wrestling matches, with some high level matches. And also, I had a gentleman by the name of Nicholas Scott. He's from Mid Lakes.
Okay.
So he handles a lot of the girls at Mid Lakes. So we got into contact, we talked to each other, and he actually put together like almost 16 all girl matches.
Yeah, I want to talk about that women's match. So finish your comment, but I want to delve into the girls a little bit.
No, I'll just say he was able to put together 16, and these are like high level wrestlers. Most of them are, girls from high school, in our area. So like I said, I think it's gonna be great. They'll get to walk out the music, the lights. They get into the MMA cage. We have 2 certified officials coming to ref the matches. And I just think it's going to be a great night.
Yeah, before we get into the ladies, let's talk about, is there any marquee matchups on the men's side that people should be aware of or get to see? Like kind of like what we did in Attica over the summer.
So we're going to actually start putting the matches together this weekend. We're going to collect the names because we might have, wrestlers might have more than one match. Some wrestlers might have 3 matches. I know we have wrestlers coming in from, the youth from Dansville. I got some wrestlers out of Hilton. We got tons of, obviously, we'll have quite a few wrestlers from our hometown, from the Grease Storm. If I don't shout them out, I might get in trouble, but that's who my kids wrestle for. And it's a great team. They have great coaches. So this weekend we're going to sit down. We're going to look at the full list we have and, match them up evenly. We're not going to have any one-sided matches when it comes to the wrestling end of the matches.
Yeah. Now the real question is the Bubba kids going to be wrestling at the event. Are we going to get to see those guys?
So yes, my little one, my 7-year-old, he's going to be wrestling. He's going to have a couple matches. My niece, Judah's daughter, she's going to have a match.
That's awesome.
She's been killing it out there. She went to an all-girls tournament last weekend in Clyde, Savannah, and took first place.
Awesome.
She took second. Yep, she took second place in Niway States a couple weeks ago. And we have a tournament tomorrow That's a Superior tournament in Pelmac, and they're all wrestling in that one. My son, obviously, he took third place in Nightway States in his division.
Edinburgh.
So, I'm going to try to match him up with some tough wrestlers. There's no easy matches here. That's the only way you're going to progress and get better.
Yeah, amen. So let's talk about the exposure. So obviously, the more you see it, you see the names of like Bella Meir, Brianna Kellen from Florida, Ella Dalmeida from Canada. Women's wrestling is completely exploding. The girls are getting into it. They're killing it. And women just scrap in general in MMA. I'm assuming from the matches I've seen,
it's wide open. Girls wrestling is wide open, and it's like you said, it's taken off so quick.
Yeah.
Sitting through this wrestling season, I went to quite a few tournaments, and I've never seen so many female wrestlers. It's just they're coming out finally out of the woodworks, and now they're comfortable because a lot of the tournaments are actually just setting up all girl matches. And then you'll see some girls, the tough ones that have been around wrestling boys, their whole career, they'll double up in their brackets. They'll wrestle in the all girls division and they'll wrestle in the co-ed division.
That's awesome. Yeah, I tried my hardest to get Ella and Brianna up here, but they had some things going on, and it's just, and obviously, if you don't know who Bella Meir is,
we know.
Wrestling fan. I mean, obviously, legendary UFC heavyweight champion, Frank Mir's daughter. She has an NIL deal with the UFC. It's huge. I am definitely excited to see the ladies. That's why I'm kicking myself for not bringing up the wrestling first. So I'm definitely excited.
No, like I said, I'm providing this platform to these wrestlers at no charge. Awesome. They get to wrestle for free. We're going to have trophies, T-shirts. They're also going to be able to sit around and watch the fights for free. So I'm hoping that we can build off of this, and every show that we do, keep bringing back and doing more wrestling, and possibly have a day just for wrestling in the cage. So it's we'll see how it goes, but I think everybody I've talked to are excited. People obviously down in our area has never seen anything like that. Nicholas Scott from Midlake said his daughter had went down to Virginia Beach. She got to wrestle on the boardwalk in the cage. She goes in and he says it was another level. She loved it so much. It was, very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I run the social media for Full Contact Promotions, and just the messages that I see of coaches inquiring, trying to get in, and me texting you and saying, "Hey, this coach, this coach, this coach." It's completely amazing to see, and it's a good little feeder system for Full Contact for the future.
Absolutely. So then we're gonna cap off the wrestling with the main event of our two coaches from the Grease Storm. There's been a lot of bickering back and forth in the room, so I was like, listen, how about you guys come out, main event, you guys wrestle, and there's no bull crap. There's no staged with this match. They're both gonna wrestle each other, normal wrestling match. The ref will be in there, and I think they're gonna definitely bring the energy of the crowd during that match.
So when I'm sitting cage side, should I have some gloves ready to throw into the cage? Because there's rumors on the street they might come to blows. Is that true?
Oh yeah, I think so. I think it's gonna happen. It's definitely gonna happen. So it's gonna be exciting to watch. Coach Joe, Coach Marcus. Coach Joe has been coaching the youth end of the Grease Storm and helping out with the high schoolers. Coach Marcus, he's the head coach of the JV Grease Storm. So yes, I think it's gonna be a great night. To have some wrestling in the cage.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. And then, so you got the wrestling first, then you got the K1, so you got the wrestling headlined by the coaches and a bunch of ladies and other male athletes. Then you got the K1 headlined by Nate Smith and Sammy Makaba. And then we go into the MMA, which obviously, as we've been promoting, as I've been saying, this is the biggest amateur MMA card in the U.S., in the Northeast, without a doubt. For the year. So we're going to get right into it. Obviously, Dom Ramlet, obviously the son of Shannon Rowe, who is also fighting on the card. So you got a mother son combination, which I don't think that's ever been done in MMA. He's taking on Karim Ali. Talk to me about that bout and those boys.
Karim Ali is out of Redemption MMA. You know, Coach Justin Walker. They got a good group of fighters out there. You know, they definitely do some major training out there. You know, Justin Walker has been around for a while. He's an OG of the game, so he's a great coach. You know, and as far as Dom, I don't know a lot about. I know he trains with Gafar. You know, and I know his training is pretty intense. So I think they're both walking into the catchweight of 195. Both are 0-1. So somebody's got to change that 0 to a 1. You know, coming out of that fight.
Yeah, I know Dom has done some grappling and things. You know, from talking with Shannon. So that's going to be an interesting ground game. Then you got two debuting amateur fighters in Moon and Dinatale? Brandon,
Yeah. So originally Moon was scheduled for a K1 fight against Ahmed Awad from Schaefer. He injured his knee, so he got pulled out. So I contacted Moon's coach. This is Alex from Apex down in Binghamton, and kind of updated that fight into an MMA fight with Brandon, he's out of Synthesis. I know Brandon was supposed to fight a couple weeks ago, and his fight fell through. So he had, all his medicals done. He was ready in camp. So contacted the coach there and able to make this match happen.
Yeah, that's great. You know, the Synthesis MMA obviously headed by Casey Lamb. John Pearson was out of there as well. Those boys always come to scrap. Let's talk about the only ladies bout. We got returning Shannon Rowe. She competed over the summer at the Attica Takedown, broke Lynn Smith's arm, a freak accident. And then we finally get Amanda Joe in the full contact. I know last March we tried getting her in. She had some medical issues, but she's back.
She became extremely ill, and she couldn't compete. The doctors wouldn't clear her to fight. So we're finally excited, to have her back and compete again, in her hometown. Both ladies are tough. That fight is going to be it's going to be a scrap. Yeah. It's definitely. I'm kind of excited. Like I said, Shannon coming off that win against Lynn Smith, with that freak accident, and she looked good in that fight. So I think it's going to be definitely a great ladies fight.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for that bout, getting Amanda in the cage, and Shannon building off the momentum that she has as well. And then we go on to Dylan Smith, who is 3-4, and then we're taking on a sectional powerhouse wrestling, Caden Ellis, who actually just signed on to the Elmira College wrestling as well. He committed to them. If you haven't seen Caden, I think I've seen both Caden's bouts. He's a scrapper. Yeah.
Dylan Smith is he trains out of Apex. And he's been around for a while. He's fought some big fighters out there. He's fought Tim Fargo. He fought him 4 years ago.
Wow.
So he's definitely an OG to the game. He's been around for a while. Caden, he's been fighting for me as a junior. So he's been doing kickboxing for at least, I want to say, the last 3 to 4 years.
Okay. Yep.
So, he definitely knows, he has the feeling of fighting in the cage. He fought his first MMA fight back in May at the IcePlex. And in won via a guillotine choke in the round number 2.
Great fight.
And then
Great.
Yeah, it was a really great fight. And then he fought in August at the Attica show against Dan Baker from Buffalo and won unanimous decision. So, he's coming in at 2-0, but he's had 8 kickboxing fights as a junior before he became an adult. So I think that's going to be like another banger, just 2 fighters who are ready to get in there and slug it out.
Yeah, and then we go to not Dylan Smith, Chandler Moody versus Anthony Roberts. follow along on Anthony Roberts. If I'm not mistaken, I think regardless win or lose, he's going pro after this bout, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. Yeah. Anthony's going. He just wants to. He wanted to get a fight so he could stay active and basically go pro after this. His last loss was a split decision against
Iannuzo.
Vinny. Yeah. So he's a tough fighter. He's definitely, like I said, he's not a slouch. He's had some very tough fights. His losses. So in Chandler Moody, he's 2-0. He comes out of Watertown.
Okay.
Yeah, he's out of Watertown with Curtis Mosley's gym there.
Okay.
He does a lot of jiu-jitsu training there. So I think that's definitely going to be a scrap between the two of them.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see that bout for sure. Then we go on to Kevin Hickson versus Gavin. I'm gonna mispronounce his name. Coyote. There we go. These guys are gonna kill me. That's why you don't have me in these fights. So talk to me about those boys.
Yeah, so Kevin Hickson, he's been a kickboxing champion, 2 divisions.
Silver medal, right?
Yeah, silver medal in ISKA worlds. He's been doing a lot more training on the ground. So I'm pretty excited to see, what he brings to the table, this time around. This fight was just made probably, I want to say a week ago. Gavin's from Canada. He's from Ontario. He trains with his coach's name is Jay Davies. Davies has been around for a very, very long time. I've probably known him for a good 6-7 years since I've been involved with this.
Okay.
So I think that's going to be a really, really interesting fight.
Yeah, I'm going to be excited to see how Kevin has improved in his ground game, because obviously Kevin's striking is there. There's no question marks there. But if he gets that ground game taken care of, it's going to be
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. If he gets that ground game down, he could be unstoppable.
Yeah, and then we're going on to one of the 3 main events of the night. We got Dylan Yarka versus Martin McCulligan. Talk to me about those guys. Dylan Yarka, obviously a vet in the amateur scene, 10-7. Then you got Martin McCulligan, who's 3-1. Talk to me about that fight.
Yeah, Dylan Yarka, he's ranked number 12 in the Northeast, number 7 in New York. He trains at Fifth Round Fitness.
Okay.
That's the same gym that Kate Hort. Was it her first name? The female fighter.
Who?
She fought the girl from Synthesis twice.
Joan Nelson?
She fought Joan Nelson twice. I forgot her name now. Holy crap.
I'll find it.
I'm drawing a blank now. Kara Holt.
Okay.
So anyways, yeah, Fifth Round, they're a big, pretty big gym down there. They do a lot of ground training, and stand up. So I think, that's going to be a pretty tough fight for Martin, but Martin, he's a pretty tough fighter himself. He's been around for a few years now. He's 3-1. He trains with Justin Walker also.
Yeah, another Justin Walker.
Yeah. So, and he's had a few kickboxing fights also.
Okay.
So it's going to be a really good fight, an interesting fight. See the outcome of that.
Yeah, and then we go into one of the 2 title fights that we have. Obviously, we have the 170-pound Full Contact Promotions welterweight title on top of the ISKA. Having both those titles on your resume as an amateur is a pretty big deal. You got Mende Kukoveski versus the cerebral and stalwart of Full Contact Promotions, Tristan Carr. That bout is I am super excited for. Obviously, because Tristan doesn't look like much, but man, when he just employs his game plan and points it.
Tristan is tough. He's another one that's from Redemption MMA down in Dansville. He's almost most of his fights have been on my show. He's probably has at least 8 or 7 fights on Full Contact Promotions. He's very high pace, and he's gotten way better, since he's last fought for me. His last fight was at the Attic show against Luis Cafetta.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but Mende is out of Syracuse. He's another very tough fighter. He's only got 1 loss. He's 3-1, and then I believe after this fight, he's planning on going pro also.
Is Tristan looking to go pro too?
I don't know. I haven't really heard anything from him or his coach about that, but you never know. They think it's the right time to go. It's, just make it happen and get yourself your first pro fight.
Yeah, and there's definitely pro organizations. They hit me up. You have your combat FCs, you have your combat zones. They're all looking to Full Contact Promotions, guys, because I hear it all the time. I
get a lot. I have a full, I have a contact at LFA. We chat back and forth. I have a couple promotions out of Canada. Matter of fact, the owner of the BTC there was thinking about coming down and checking out the fight. So we'll see.
What's BTC?
Well, they have like a gym. It's called Burlington Training Center.
Yep.
But they also have a promotion they run up there. It's it's not bad. I've been to one of their fights. It's pretty decent.
What's the name of the promotion?
It's called BTC.
Oh, okay, I got you. And then obviously the fight that everybody's coming out for, the main event. It's a massive fight in the amateur. Seeing you have the #1 ranked New York amateur bantamweight fighter, #1 U.S. Northeast in the grindy cerebral Tim Fargo. And then you got the uber prospect Mason Lewis, who I think after this fight he's going to test the waters at 125. Then he's going to go pro. So this is one of the last few times, and I'm hearing notes and rumors that regardless of win or lose, Fargo is also going pro after this bout. So you might be able to see Mason Lewis 1 more time, 2 more times in the amateur. Fargo, that's probably it.
Yeah.
That's another reason why these guys got to come out on April 6th to see this card.
So Mason only has one loss. That was his first fight ever. Since then he's went 4-0.
Blistered.
So he just is come out of nowhere, and just getting in there and dominating, so I think this is going to be a very interesting fight, both of them wrestlers, so, Fargo, he's another one, he's, he's got over 10 fights. Yeah, 2 losses, 8-2. And his 2 losses are not to any slouches. They were high level, undefeated. Justin, he was undefeated. That was his last fight. And then he went pro. And then Oliver I believe he's also from Canada. So this is going to be very interesting to see what Fargo has done to change his training and get in there and get the job done.
Yeah, and people that are listening, we're going to be talking to Tim Fargo and Mason Lewis, so we'll have interviews with both those gentlemen leading up to next week's fight. I know Tim's been training elsewhere as well, and then Mason, obviously, he competed at the Attica Takedown against a really game opponent in DeAndre Porter. worked out of some really, really bad positions on his way to victory. So I am definitely excited to see that. And some of these guys, this is going to be the last time you see them in the amateur setting, and then they're going to the pros. So, it's a feeder system, and this is the time to see them when they were young. Obviously, like Jasmine Juvicious, Jonjones from this area as well. So, April 6th at the Tim Hortons IcePlex, Rage in the Cage 24. But let's fast forward. Got any announcements? Any main event bouts for May 11th? Rage in the Cage 25 at the Tim Hortons IcePlex that you can drop.
Slow down, Dan. Take it easy, Dan. Not yet. Not yet. I can't. We gotta get through next weekend, and then we'll start doing a little bit of announcements. You know me. I'm very particular with my matchmaking. I like to get everything down on paper, and I do a lot of studying. To make sure that we have the best matchups. I just don't like to come in and throw any matchup together because of ticket sales. I don't care about that. I have, as of right now for this show, we have 16 bouts. I have 2 bouts that I'm still looking for matches for. So, and both are ticket sellers. I don't find a match that's the right match for them. We just won't have those fights. I don't put on these shows because I want fighters to sell tickets. Yeah, it's an incentive for fighters because we give back to amateur fighters, and some amateur fighters can make a lot of money selling tickets, but that's what they use to pay for their training, to pay for their traveling, put a little bit of money in their pockets, and that's why I try to put on the best platform for these amateur fighters so they are already prepared for the pro level shows they would need to fight on. Because I believe my amateur shows are already at probably better than some pro shows.
I agree. I agree. I'm not being biased.
I think after this show, I need to get through this next weekend, and then when I'll sit down, we'll have 5 weeks to get the May card together, and I think it'll be another good show. It's something you can't miss.
And obviously, this is the biggest card. May you got a tough task to top this card. Obviously tickets are selling. All the VIP tables are sold out. A lot of tickets are moving. It's going to be a big crowd, big night. April 6th.
And it's a full day. We're going to start from noon, and we're going to keep going. People will be able to come and go. They come watch the wrestling. They can leave. They can come back, watch the MMA or the kickboxing. So like I said, I'm trying to provide the best show for the fans, the best platform for the fighters, because we want our fans to come back. We want our fighters to come back, and take it from there.
Yeah, and starting with the wrestling, and even these amateurs, all the future stars of tomorrow.
Oh, for sure. And I've already a few of the wrestlers that I talked to was asking me, where they can go train. They want to start training, for mixed martial, for an MMA fight. So I, kind of led them in, different directions, what's best for them. Yep. So I'm not biased to any gym. I'm friends with everybody out there. So I try to, depending on where they're at, where they live, direct them in the right direction, and and get them on the right path.
Yeah, I love it. And obviously one of those K1 bouts is Andres Quiroz, who is definitely a crowd favorite.
Unfortunately, his fighter suffered a really, really bad cut on his eyelid, so he can't fight. We still have a week left. You never know. Sometimes we make matches the day before. So he's ready to go. He's still training. He's going to be on weight. He has all his medicals. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, another vicious elite guy. Well, there you have it. Rage in the Cage 24, April 6th at the legendary Tim Hortons IcePlex behind Monroe Community College. Tickets are still available at the Full Contact Promotions website. They will be available at the door a little bit.
RochesterFights.com. That's RochesterFights with an S.com. Yeah. There's still tons of general admission. It's a pretty big arena, and we have probably a little bit of VIP floor left.
And then, if you're a mixed martial arts fan, There's not much going on in the mixed martial arts scene that weekend. I guarantee there's at least one or two guys, or potentially more, with all the wrestlers as well, that are going to be in the UFC or in that in the dance, either PFL, Bellator, or the UFC. So make sure you guys come
Sure.
out.
Definitely. I'm more excited for the wrestling end of this because, if this is successful and everybody loves it, we'll keep going with it, and then as we go on, it's going to be exciting to see some of these wrestlers, how they evolve into the MMA scene and then end up taking their first MMA fight, so I'm hoping we can just keep building this platform and keep moving forward with it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge buzz on the street. I mean, I see all the messages and everybody having the interest in it. Next weekend is gonna be a fun time. I can't wait. But Bubba, I truly appreciate the time. I'm gonna see your
I
beautiful
appreciate
face
it, Dan.
next weekend. Just sit tight, okay?
All right, buddy.